This is ancap.su, and we're now going to talk about the flight of foreign capital. Direct investment in Brazil has fallen absurdly, okay? This number here, 152%, I have a problem with it. That wouldn't make much sense, right? How can it fall more than 100%, right? But anyway, it's gone down a lot. We're going to look at the figures here, and there's the explanation that the people gave, which according to them isn't because of the LULA government. Let's understand what's behind it here. It's because of the LULA government, yes, in the end, right? This news was suggested by Catuaba, LULA's geriatric fraudster, and several other people. Thanks to the people who suggested news on our website at visãolibertaria.com. Thank you for watching our video, and if you like our content, please like and subscribe to our channel. Well, when I saw this here, direct investment of 152%, I was shocked. It can't be more than 100%. 100% is the total. There has been zero foreign investment in Brazil. I don't think it's reasonable that they're now putting the value here at a drop of 152%. I don't know if there's something special about calculating this indicator that this is the case, but the account I made here, what he said, was that in September, this type of application added up to 3.8 billion reais, so it's not negative, it's positive. 3.8 against 9.6 billion the previous year. So here we go. The central point is this: direct investment in companies in Brazil has fallen sharply. And this money is precisely when investors put money into companies here in Brazil, in which they are partners, in which they have at least 10% of the voting power. So this is a good investment. That investment that the guy comes here for is not a speculative investment. The guy who buys shares in the stock market to wait for the stock market to go up and then sell everything and ends up generating speculative capital that doesn't help the country much in the end. Not this one. Well, it's good capital. It's the guy who puts money into the company, who controls it and therefore has an interest in it working, that the company is viable in the long term, that it generates resources, of course, that it makes a profit for him. Anyone who puts money in to make a profit. But it's a profit committed to the function of that company, which is the function that the company is going to perform, that the company is going to meet a need in the Brazilian market and thus receive the profit from it, right? So in the end, the drop is brutal, from 9.6 billion last year to 3.8 billion, a very big drop. And here they talk about what happened, but I found this other article here from Gazeta do Povo, which is a bit older, but which talks about why this should have happened. And then they explain here that it's not a reflection of a greater fear of the government. In other words, no, it's not the government's fault directly. We don't see a change in the interest of global players in this regard. At least not in sufficient volume to explain the reduction in accumulated terms for the year. Okay, fine. But what about that? So what explains it? Of course, the conditions of the economy, GDP growth, the dynamics of the interest rate, and the persistence of inflation end up playing a part in decision-making, but I would say LULA here is a reflection of the political and economic conduct indirectly, but not directly. I see. It's not that the people abroad don't like LULA and Haddad. They have nothing against LULA and Haddad. Imagine, these people invest in thousands of countries, each with rulers more goofy than the others. The problem is the shit that LULA and Haddad are doing. So what he ultimately said here is that it doesn't reflect a fear of the government. It's not that we don't like LULA. It's just that LULA is fucking up. So the interest rate is falling, the interest rate is tending to rise further. There's persistent inflation. GDP growth is low, economic conditions are shitty, so we're going to take the money, right? In other words, it's because of LULA. Yes, there's no other way around it, right? Last year, good or bad, we had Paulo Guedes in charge of the economy. Bolsonaro, I agree, is not an economic genius, and he never said he was. He always said he was going to leave this issue of the economy to Paulo Guedes, and Paulo Guedes did an excellent job, recognized. Everyone knows the quality of Paulo Guedes. Then this year they put in Haddad, who, as I understand it, did 2 semesters of economics, 2 months studying economics, something like that. Whether he did or didn't doesn't matter. The fact is that he might not even have done it, but be an intelligent guy capable of solving problems. But he's not. He's an idiot. And then, in other words, put LULA, who is a complete idiot who makes a point of meddling in this economic business, and Haddad, who is a puppet, equally idiotic, with no light of his own, with nothing. The result is the tragedy we're seeing here. The economy is going away, and that's why investors are fleeing, right? Oh, it's not because of the government? No, it's not because of LULA? No. But it's because LULA is doing so much shit that it's the things that are there that are causing investors to flee. That's more than obvious, isn't it? Anyway, this is extremely worrying because this investment money in companies here is a fundamental part of what Brazil receives in terms of global resources. IDP is the largest source of financing for Brazil's balance of payments, and the activities of multinational groups in the Brazilian economy have an impact not only on the balance of payments, which is precisely what comes in and what goes out in total money here in Brazil, but also in employment, production, income, and technological development. In other words, with these people leaving, the situation is getting more and more complicated here in Brazil. Is it time to get off the mule and get out of here? I don't know. I'm more and more convinced that it is, you know?
Thank you for watching the video to the end. As well as liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel, consider becoming a sponsor with prices starting at $1.99. Click on the Become a Member button below to find out about the conditions and advantages of sponsoring the channel. For more information about our project, visit our websites listed on the screen.